the worst home price declines are behind us. Let's talk about that one. We can do that today. We're ready. I mean, got it all ready just in case we need something. The worst home price declines are behind us. If you're following the news, and this is a real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. If you're following the news today, you may feel a bit unsure about what's happening with home prices and fear whether or not the worst is yet to come. That's because today's headlines are painting an unnecessarily negative picture. Contrary to those headlines, home prices aren't in a free fall. The latest data tells a very different and much more positive story. Local home price trends still vary by market, but here's what the national data tells us. If we take a year-over-year view, home prices stayed positive. They just appreciated more slowly than they did at the peak of the pandemic. To get a more detailed picture of some of the trends in the market, we need to look at monthly data. The monthly graphs, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday with Tony Patrick, but the graphs of the recent reports from three sources show that the worst home price declines are already behind us. If you're waiting for rates to drop or prices to drop, you missed it. Prices are on their way back up nationally, and being that I'm throwing all these curveballs, Josh has got it. I'm throwing all these curveballs at him. I didn't know if we'd have this one. The story, if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing home prices are stabilizing. It's a chart, month over month, percentage change in home values, seasonally adjusted. And you can see the worst of it was in August and September of last year. FHFA, basically, that was the only month, well, down negative 0.1 in November and 0.3 in December. So prices are just not going down much. The story this more detailed monthly view tells us is that the last year has been a tale of two halves in the housing market. In the first half of 2022, home prices were climbing and they peaked in June. Then in July, home prices started to decline. That's shown in red on the graph that we had for you. And by roughly August or September, the trend began to stabilize. As we look at the most recent data for the early part of 2023, the graphs also show a recent rebound in momentum, with prices ticking back up. Monthly changes in home prices are gaining steam as we move into the busier spring season. While 1 to 2 months doesn't make a trend, the fact that all three reports show prices have stabilized is an encouraging sign for the housing market. The month-over-month data conveys a clear but early consensus that a national shift is taking place today. In essence, home prices are starting to tick back up. Andy Walden, Vice President of Enterprise Research at Black Knight, says this about price trends, quote, just 5 months ago, prices were declining on a seasonally adjusted month-over-month basis in 92% of all major U.S. markets. Fast forward to March, and the situation has done a literal 180, with prices now rising in 92% of markets from February, unquote. Selma Hepp, chief economist at CoreLogic, explains the limited supply of homes available for sale is contributing to this positive turn. Prices in many large metros appear to have turned the corner, with the U.S. recording a second month of consecutive monthly gains. The monthly rebound in home prices underscores the lack of inventory in this housing cycle, unquote. Here's what this means for you, sellers. If you've been holding off on selling because you're worried about what is happening with home prices and how it would impact the value of your home, it may be time to jump back in and partner with an agent to list your house. You don't have to put your needs on hold any longer because the latest data shows a turn in your favor. Buyers, if you've been waiting to purchase because you didn't want to purchase something that would decrease in value, you now have the peace of mind things are looking up. Buying now lets you make your move before home prices climb more and gives you the chance to own an asset that typically grows in value over time. Bottom line, if you put off your plans to move because you're worried about home prices falling, data shows the worst is already behind us and prices are actually rising nationally. Give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com.